Let's come back to Rahul Gandhi, because it impacts Rahul Gandhi. This gives an ample opportunity for Rahul Gandhi to remake himself. Now, because see, Rahul Gandhi has, he has now the opportunity to go back to the parliament. Yes, the court has said that the observation was not in right taste. The court has also said that. This provides ample ammunition to Rahul Gandhi on tentatively on 11th of August, because Rahul Gandhi, when he will speak on Manipur, when Rahul Gandhi is going to speak on Manipur, this will be a personal debate between him and the Prime Minister. This will be a personal debate. You see, Congress party has a small kitty of MPs. You get limited time because you are small in number. You get more time because you are large in number. So larger share of that speech और द टाइम विल बी एलोकेटेड टू राहुल गांधी बाय द कांग्रेस पार्टी इटसेल्फ. जैसे अपन लोग 10 लोग हैं तो हम लोगों को 10 मिनट का समय मिलेगा, तो हम लोग दो मिनट करेंगे. लेकिन इसमें क्या होगा कि अगर आधे घंटे का वक्त मिलेगा तो 20 मिनट्स विल बी गिवन टू राहुल गांधी. सो दिस विल मेक द लास्ट डे ऑफ द पार्लियामेंट सेशन very very effective. And I also want to see the day when Rahul Gandhi walks inside the parliament.
I am saying that, as I have been saying ever since the word came out that Supreme Court stayed, the Congress is going to celebrate, and I was vindicated by, majority of the Congress statement which has come after that. The Congress is going to treat that as a return of Rahul, as somebody who was vindicated, because that is how you build a roaring narrative around your leader. I mean, it's
and by all means also, I mean, Congress, we saw Kartikeya and Brajesh, the scenes outside the Parliament House, Vijay Chowk, जहाँ आप लोगों के लिए बहुत common और familiar जगह है. The black bands suddenly turned into black kurta pajama, all overall of black. So अगर वो था उनका प्रदर्शन उसके विरोध में, राहुल के डिस्क्वालिफिकेशन में, तो I'm sure there would be there will be gung ho.
You can see the IYC chief feeding everybody with copious amount of laddus to celebrate the stay on the Supreme Court. Stay by the Supreme Court on Rahul Gandhi's conviction.
कार्तिकेय, बहुत दिनों के बाद एआईसीसी हेडक्वार्टर्स में इस तरह की चहल पहल देखने को मिल रही है, खासकर लड्डू बट रहे हैं. हालांकि कर्नाटका चुनाव
के बाद there has been spring in the step. The party has there's a buoyancy there. The Congress feels that that there's a slight turnaround at the kind of political misfortune they have been handling or seeing for a while now. So that happiness is there.
Definitely, I'm sure the cheering sounds there. Well, there we see.
When we, the celebrations will continue through the day. Celebrations will continue through the week, and maybe the celebration will continue the next week as well. The point is how much capital which the Congress party will gain from it. It will entirely depend on the speech. Let me tell you, sometimes people make gaffes. You recall when Rahul Gandhi hugged Prime Minister?
Yes, he walked up.
When he did that, I thought, boss, what a masterstroke. And then what he did exactly 15 minutes later, he looked at the press gallery and he winked.
He looked at Jyotiraditya
and he winked. My God, within 10 minutes, what he did went away. So in politics, you don't know.
But I would say one more thing, Kartikeya, that when you were talking about Jairam Ramesh, when we were talking about Bharat Jodo Yatra and all, I think perhaps the only time the Congress strategists have applied their mind in coming up, in realizing the shortcomings, brutally assessing the shortcomings of Rahul Gandhi and then working a strategy around it, was Bharat Jodo Yatra. Because all these Jadoo ki Jhappi, Nafrat ka Saudagar, all these they never work long time for in politics, and especially when you are up against a orator like Prime Minister Narendra Modi. When he ripped apart Rahul Gandhi and the Congress party for what they have done to democracy. So I think this Bharat Jodo Yatra gave him the two aspects, the credibility and the consistency, which he lacked severely, because there were always talk that Rahul Gandhi would raise a particular issue in the parliament for 2 days, 3 days, all kind of protest and all happened. Then all of a sudden in the middle of the Lok Sabha he would vanish and nobody would know where he is gone. So that had dented his credibility and consistency. I think Bharat Jodo Yatra brought it. And second important thing is, Kartikeya, I think the most important thing for the Congress party would be to ensure that the message is not lost in translation. I hope you're getting what I'm trying to say. If you want to speak in English, please stick to English, but don't do this English to Hindi translation. Actually, we end up making a fool of yourself.
There's a difference which I could feel. I'm not saying I'm the only person who has covered Rai Bareilly and Amethi, but after that extensive experience of going there for 10 years, I realized one thing: Rahul Gandhi is far more comfortable in English. प्रियंका गांधी इज फार मोर कंफर्टेबल इन हिंदी. भाई बातचीत भी होती थी, मतलब कई बार होता है जैसे खड़े हैं वहाँ, तो कोई भी रिपोर्टर पता है P2C आप कर रहे हैं, सड़क किनारे खड़े हैं. I still remember someone said did something to me like this. I said, अरे ये क्या हुआ? And my camera person started smiling. Then I looked. So Kishori Lal was driving and Priyanka said, क्या कर रहे हो तुम यहाँ? रैली वैली तो खत्म हो गई. So suddenly I realized वो गाड़ी में बैठी थी और हिंदी. First words were in Hindi. So in these little spaces you understand कि the first language. Rahul Gandhi is first. And he's a good speaker. You see, in personal conversation, you can feel that Rahul has a lot of clarity. You might say, that you can criticize him for being, he draws heavily from a lot of books or anecdotes, but that's one way of looking at it. कहते हैं ना कि बड़े पढ़े लिखे हैं पर कड़े नहीं है वैसे. That is another thing. But he's pretty convincing, fluent in one-to-one. The problem is, when he is on the dais, then that Rahul Gandhi becomes very different from the Rahul Gandhi which you
I think no, but the problem is that only, it's lost in translation.
Yes.
You always want to, you say something in Hindi, but it's like, that the Prime Minister has also been criticized several times when he
वैसे आज कांग्रेस के लिए दिन अच्छा है. सुनने में आया जगदीश टाइटलर को भी आज एंटिसिपेटरी बेल मिल गई है.
चलिए, looks like the streak.
ये रह गया था हमारे दिमाग में, हम जितनी चर्चा कर रहे थे. मतलब आज दिन बड़ा दिन था, आज ज्ञानवापी का दिन था, उसमें कोर्ट का हुआ. इफ यू रिकॉल, सुबह ट्रम्प से हुआ, हमने इमैनुअल मैक्रोन पे बात की आपसे. so many other, our coverage was on Nuhu in morning. और उसके बीच में
केरल भी हमने कवर किया. बीच में
केरल भी कवर किया. उसके बीच में लगता है छोटी सी बात भी रह गई.
चलिए, आपने बता दिया.
वो भी एंटिसिपेटरी बेल पा गए.
चलिए, we have two guests also waiting to join us here. Senior Advocate K.C. Mittal is there, and also Gautam Mukherjee. Gautam, we'll come back to you. Mr. Mittal has just joined us. Mr. Mittal, well, how do you see this verdict from the Supreme Court, first things first, and secondly, were you also expecting it?
This is a great victory in a way, and even as an advocate, anybody doing practice on criminal side would have expected this. Reason being, and as is indicated in the order of the Honorable Supreme Court also, in a defamation case, giving maximum punishment to 2 years without any justifiable reasons, without any recording of reasons except saying and referring to the contempt order of the Supreme Court earlier, that by itself made it an issue, and where the Supreme Court judges were quite convinced and satisfied that this maximum punishment of 2 years in a case of defamation is totally unjustified and reasonable. Therefore, they stayed the conviction part of it. And it would have happened. It should have happened, as a matter of fact, even at the level of the High Court. Any lawyer doing practice on the criminal side or anywhere,
right,
would not expect, even in normal course, you go to the murder case and other cases, maximum punishment of 2 years, which is prescribed under Section 499, giving that kind of dose was totally unreasonable, unexpected, and against all judicial norms, I can say that.
Okay.
The fact of the matter is, when the section itself says sentence 2 years or fine or both, what does it mean? And it's just an offense, so-called defamation, which has yet to undergo the exercise before the appellate court, whether it is the conviction is sustainable or it's sustained or not, that is still the appellate court has yet to decide on the merits, because the Supreme Court has not gone on to the merits of the matter. The merits have to be gone into over there. Today, the issue was very limited. Whether in the face of it and the reasoning recorded by the subordinate court, even the High Court, justifying the maximum punishment of 2 years, whether that is reasonable, justified, or at this stage should be stayed or not. And as a matter of fact, since the Supreme Court found it without any valid reasons, and only reason given was, as I have already said, the contempt proceedings of the Supreme Court. So the court said, no, stay it at and as far as the appeal part is concerned on the question of marriage, the court has not gone into, and court was not really supposed to go into also, because all that has to be considered by the appellate court. Therefore, in the facts and circumstances, in any case, I think if you ask me frankly speaking, on having practiced for so long, even the High Court should have done it. Rather than going into and writing a judgment and justifying, into running
लोग
into
तो बोल रहे हैं कि
more
केस
than
तो
100
बनता ही नहीं
pages.
था मित्तल साहब, लोग तो बोल रहे हैं वैसे केस बनता नहीं था, लेकिन मोटी बात है केस बना। केस ट्रायल कोर्ट से हाई कोर्ट पे गया। राहुल गांधी को अपना घर छोड़ना पड़ा।
और छूट
An
भी नहीं
important
मिली।
point is that what looked like a normal procedure of law, which would be tossed away at the first instance, went up to the apex court.
वेंट अप टू द एपेक्स कोर्ट। मामला तो छोटा नहीं था, मामला तो बहुत बड़ा बना। तभी इतनी बड़ी बड़ी बाइट्स दिन भर में आई नहीं।